Governor McCrory, Secretary Perry, Major General Retired Wilson, Senator Dan Socek, Representative John Torbett, Representative Speciale, Representative Chris Whitmire, and Larry Pittman. On behalf of Major General Greg Lusk and all the North Carolina National Guard soldiers and airmen, I'd like to welcome you to Joint Forces Headquarters and to thank you and the General Assembly for supporting this legislation. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Pat McCrory.
Thank you all very much. Let me first thank the men and women in uniform here for your constant redeployments across the world. I cannot tell you how much we appreciate you. We don't forget you. You should be in the news every single day, leading the news, especially for your friends and colleagues that are overseas right now. I know they sometimes feel forgotten, but I just want to let you know these men and women here have not forgotten them. And let's give them a warm welcome home when they all get home. Second, I want to thank you for your ongoing training to protect this nation. Many of you have just gone through some recent training, which we really appreciate. And we can never stop training in case something happens or when it happens. And you are our line of defense. And we, again, do not take you for granted. I also want to thank you and some of your colleagues who are also helping out right now as we speak on some of the major western fires. They're being taken away from their families, and they're also encountering very dangerous jobs where we've had loss of life in the past. And let's continue to support them, and our continued prayers are for them as they try to save lives and save property out west at this period of time. We're proud to help. That's our job, and we're going to continue to do just that. And we'd expect the same in return from other states as we encounter our own natural or man-made disasters. So thank you very much. Thank you, Colonel Wilkins. We appreciate your leadership. We're here to pause and make sure we're prepared and we protect. This past weekend, our nation paused and joined families, veterans, and members of the military and other leaders gathered in Chattanooga, Tennessee, to honor and remember the lives of 4 Marines and 1 Navy sailor killed last month. Marine Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan, Lance Corporal Squire Wells, Marine Staff Sergeant David Wyatt, Marine Sergeant Carson Holmquist, and Navy Petty Officer Randall Smith. These Marines and this sailor were American citizens doing what they knew to be right, and that was serving their country. But on the morning of July the 16th, it was those that sought to protect us that were in need of protection. At 10:30 that morning, an armed man opened fire in front of a military recruiting center, just like the ones we have here in North Carolina. An office located between a phone store and a restaurant that had no additional security. From there, the shooter drove 7 miles across town and opened fire on a Naval Operations Support Center, a fenced facility with concrete traffic barriers, but with unmanned gates. There, he killed 4 Marines and 1 sailor. This is in the United States. This is right next door in Tennessee. This was a terrible tragedy, but one which has inspired and will continue to inspire action. Immediately following this tragic shooting, I directed the Department of Public Safety and the North Carolina National Guard to look at what can be done to improve the safety at our recruiting facilities and other military offices as soon as possible. The day after the attack, I instructed General Lusk to station military police at 3 of our most public North Carolina National Guard recruiting offices that are located in strip malls. I've made sure they will be stationed there indefinitely to keep our citizen soldiers safe as well as those looking for military service. However, that is not enough. North Carolina has 90 National Guard armories called readiness centers across our state that are accessible to citizens, Guard members, and their families can have access to the services provided there. Our military offices should be among the safest in our community and in our state and in our nation. And we're going to make sure that happens right here in North Carolina. However, as we have discovered in Chattanooga, they are not immune to the evil that exists in the world, including right here. So today, I am signing House Bill 371 that allows us to fulfill our obligation to protect those who protect us. That must be our goal. This legislation will allow members of the National Guard who have a concealed carry permit to carry concealed weapons while on duty in state buildings like recruiting offices and armories. This gives our National Guard members the tools they need to defend themselves and protect our citizens. This bill also allows a person who is injured or sustains property damage as a result of a terrorist attack or from someone who materially supports terrorism to sue up to 3 times the amount of actual damages of $50,000, whichever is greater. This common sense legislation addresses my core philosophy of protecting and defending our military families, and veterans in North Carolina any way we can. I want to thank everyone who is here and who has helped with this bill. Dan Susek, a West Point graduate, National Guard citizen soldier who's been here many times. Major General Lusk, who is just doing a great job as Adjutant General, and I'm sorry he can't be here today. To Colonel Cliff Welkins, the Joint Chief of Staff of the North Carolina National Guard, thank you very much. Department of Public Safety Secretary Frank Perry. Frank, the minute this incident occurred, we looked at what Governor Haslam was doing in Tennessee. We immediately took action. The minute I made a call to Secretary Perry, he said, "This is what I recommend we do," and I said, "Let's do it." But that's a temporary step. We need long-term action. And that's exactly what these men and women have done in the legislature. They took action immediately. And also I want to thank our military advisor, Cornell Wilson, former general in the Marine Corps. I can't tell you, General, how much I appreciate your leadership as being my military advisor. He also, along with Frank, said, we have got to protect our military men and women here in North Carolina. And it's a sad commentary that we have to do that within our borders, but it's a fact of life. Because the terrorists want to come into our borders, into the United States, and cause havoc, and cause loss of life, and disturb the way of life that we have here in the United States of America and North Carolina. And we're not going to allow it. We will respond, we will protect ourselves, and we will defend ourselves. And we will take very strong action against them, those who want to destroy our country and our state. And this is a good step forward in doing just that. Again, we're doing this first to protect you so you can protect us. Not only here in North Carolina, but overseas. And you're my heroes. You're my heroes, and your families are our heroes too for allowing you to do this. In fact, let's give applause to your families more than anyone else. So with all due respect to all of y'all, I respect your families even more, because you can control your actions a lot. It's your family's not in control. And they have no idea what you're encountering, so they only imagine the worst. And that's a tough situation to be in. And so I just want to say thank you very much. So with that, let's sign this piece of legislation in this great building, and thank y'all for your leadership. I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud to be your commander, and we're listening to you. And as you notice, we've been here a lot, and I also want to thank you for all the work you did on all the storms that we had. Sadly, since I've been governor, I think we've had the 3 or 4 worst winter storms in the last 100 years. Boy, we had a team behind us to help respond, and we did it right out of this building. So I've gotten to know this building extremely well, and I'm honored to have an office here, and I feel very comfortable in this office. And I feel very comfortable with my working relationship, not only with these men and women, but also with your commanders, and I really do appreciate it.